This is a preventable disaster. Let's find out how. This system requires an individual to jack up the vehicle, jack stand it, slide under, do all the work on your back or side or whatever configuration it takes, and then slide back out, take it back, off the jacks, pull the jack stands, etc. Or we could use a two-post lift. Introducing the 10,000-pound two-post symmetrical arm lift. We'll be going over this in detail. By the time we're finished, you'll know the basics on how to use it. Let's identify our parts. The blue verticals are your posts, 1, 2. The yellow are arms, one for the rear, one for the front. The black pads are for contacting the vehicle. There's one on both sides. They're exactly the same, thus the name symmetrical. That's a test question, people. Inspection items include no leaks on the hydraulics, all bolts tight and installed. Our safety there, that bar, if a vehicle hood were to hit that, it would turn off our operation. We would prevent some terrible disaster. Both sides need to be inspected. Notice 10,000 pounds is written in pounds, as you would see it driving on the lift. That's part of the regulation. Notice we're bolted to the floor. We check those, ensure they're tight also. We have found them loose. Let's talk about controls. The controls on this lift are fairly simple. Simple to operate and easy to make mistakes. On this side, we have a button that controls up operation. We'll commonly call clear before going up or down. Clear! Makes the lift go up. The bar below it, you'll clear before you let it down. Make sure no one's around. Clear! And let the lifts down. One other component is the lock mechanism. If you go high enough, clear. You can hear the mechanical locks engage. You can see how high the arms are off the ground. In order to disengage mechanical locks, we'll have to pull this lever all the way. Failure to pull it all the way will allow one side to come down and one side will stop. In order to get the rest of it to come down, pull that mechanical safety lock lever and then push our hydraulic lever. If I push it prior to pulling the mechanical lock lever, the arms will lock. And that's as far as they'll go until we pull that. Only we have one more issue. We've got to raise it above. Clear. The lock levers, and then we can pull it and let these down. Let's talk about the arms and the adapters. These arms are meant to swing under the vehicle, and then these pads will engage either the frame or the unibody and lift it up. If it's not high enough, it won't clear the running boards or the rocker arms, or the rocker panel. So let's find out how to change that. You'll see this one's fairly short. I'm going to select correct size. Perhaps we need the medium. This one is short, this one's medium, and this one is long. Let's put in the medium. We'll install our pad and then see if that will give us clearance so that this part doesn't hit the rocker panel or the running board. There's one other safety aspect of these arms we must address. That is this lock right here. Once the vehicle is raised, then this lock will engage, which won't allow this arm to move anymore left and right. Once it's back on the ground, this lock will be removed and it will allow the arm to swing so you can adjust it under the vehicle. When a vehicle is brought into the shop, it will need to be pretty close to center of these two arms. You'll get someone to guide you, and at no time should someone put themselves between the vehicle they're not in control of and something hard like this wall. They should stand to the side as much as they're able. Let's bring it in. When you bring the vehicle in, you'll need to leave the gear selector in neutral and the park brake off. You'll notice that the key will not come out completely, thus the dinging. Our lift arms can be selected, longer or shorter. You'll notice they're probably just a little long to go under the vehicle. So we'll slide the vehicle forward a bit by rolling the wheels. So when rolling the vehicle forward, this is all it takes, people. Nothing fancy. If you push on the vehicle body, ensure you don't push on anything plastic or breakable. I've selected the medium length or height adjusters. You'll notice under this vehicle, on this one, I have some kind of rocker panel extensions. Would be a running board if you could step on it. Here I have some body parts that have been pulled together and welded. Plastic on that side, metal on this side. If I were to try to lift this vehicle by that, I would probably break something or stretch something. This vehicle being a truck chassis has a body on frame, and this is our frame under here. So let's scoot this under the frame, shall we? Closest to the back as we can get. It should contact right here. Take a look. We have the same setup in the front as we do in the back. You'll notice if I were to let this lift right here, we'll break something. So we'll have to slide ours under this frame, and this one has a few nodules right here for you to aim for. And so, let's see, that's pretty close. I've got my lift arm set on the right side and on the left side. So now I'm going to raise the arms and check our placement. Let's raise the arms and then we'll check to make sure they contact where we want them to contact. Clear. Did we get what we want? Touching up there, touching up there. We're across the way, touching what we wanted on both places. Now let's take it up in the air, shall we? Before we take it up, let's give it a bit of a shake, shall we? Everything's good. Sounds good. If you hear a bunch of clanking, which are the arms, moving inside the slides, you'll need to readjust because something's not right. Let's give this apparatus a bit of a shake. Make sure it's on there. Feels good. Doesn't make too much noise. Let's take it up. Let's make sure there's no one around or nothing on top of the vehicle we need. One good thing to check before you raise the vehicle is to ensure that you don't have your parts inside that you're going to need once you remove something like the wheels. You're going to do brakes or bearings or something. So make sure all our parts are out. Let's take it up. Typically, what are we going to yell, class? Clear. Going up. One thing we'll watch out for is to ensure that the roof doesn't hit that black beam up there just under the blue panel. One other thing, this is a hatchback. If we had the hatch open, depending on the vehicle, we could hit those lights or maybe the air handling system. So you'll need to keep a look. If you have somebody working with you, they can help. And we are good. Step back and see where we're at. Okay, vehicle's lifted. Once the vehicle's up, before we go under to do anything major, we're going to be pulling and pushing and twisting and yanking and carrying on, hammering to make sure that every one of our contacts is in a safe place that won't likely slide. You'll notice I put these little bolts that hold the pad on, the rubber pad on the metal. I turned them sideways so they don't contact the metal and slide under load. So we're good everywhere. Now the vehicle's up. Let's get the toolbox open. We could have any number of things under the vehicle now. We could have toolbox. We could have a maintenance stand. We could have a welder over there under the plastic. I noticed bringing this vehicle in that we needed brakes bleed because they were awfully spongy. I had to push the brakes all the way to the floor to get them to stop. So the wheels need to be removed, and then see that little nipple right there. Pump the brakes, release this nipple, let the air out, continue pumping the brakes on and off until you get all the air out. We'll do the front, we'll do the rear. Same kind of thing, only this nipple is broken. You can tell by some rust. This was a northern vehicle. You can also tell by the lack of rust and the presence of paint that we replaced that fuel tank. And while we did it, we replaced the fuel pump, which didn't work at all, in which case the engine wouldn't run. One of the things we commonly do under the vehicle while it's on the lift is an inspection where you'll check everything. Tires, shocks or struts, springs, Excessive rust. I can see some. Leaks. Looks a little dribbly right there on the differential. And let's see. Check other things like exhaust system. It's all there and it's in fair shape. Frame for condition. Often in the north, the frame's rotted out and vehicles end up being scrapped because of that. We're in the south here in Tennessee, so this is sort of an anomaly. One thing you want to look for is like these boots being blown here, or grease slinging out in a rotational fashion. You'll see a little issue right there. Focus. Right there. See that boot blowing on that upper control arm ball joint. So, look around at everything, see if things are leaking. Look a little wet down here and there. Of course, this vehicle is a 2001 Kia. Belongs to the school, and we've done all manner of things to it, so it works okay. But it is pretty rough. We're wrapping up work on our electric vehicle modifications. Installed batteries, new controllers, our transducers for throttle inputs. It's not what we're here to talk about, though. We're going to talk about, wrap up our lift utilization, safe lift utilization. And we're using our 2001 Kia Sportage for this. I'm getting ready to let it down. Finished up, took a look at all our work. We're ready to let it down. You'll notice there's nothing under it. We removed our toolbox. It's right there. Nothing's under it. Take a good look. No one under it. If you made some major leaks or messes, you want to clean those up. And then we'll let it down. All right, ready to go down. Safety lever first. All the way. Clear. Hydraulic lever. Going down. And we're down. Now that the vehicle's all the way on the ground, we've got to do something about these lift arms. Sometimes they just pull right out from under the vehicle. No problem. Like that. Sometimes they get stuck on a wheel or on a running board, in which case you may have to change the configuration as you come out. Oh, look at that. Bumped right into that fender louver. Okay. And removed. Make sure we do both sides so we don't drive over them. It happens, people. Once we're back on the ground, we'll need to put the vehicle back in park. Have to push this little button. Pull the park brake. Turn the key off. Failure to turn the key off. Will often drain the battery. Leave the keys somewhere where people will see them. This wraps up our introduction to the two-post symmetrical arm lift. You'll see that we were able to inspect, utilize the lift, put up our Kia, do what we needed to do, let it back down without fear or much danger of it being a danger or a hazard taking our life or ruining the vehicle. It's what we want, people. This concludes our how to use the two-post symmetrical arm lift introduction. Trust you enjoyed it, got something out of it, and you'll work safely.